that the death of Jesus on the cross actually closed the book on the doubts that the heavenly beings had concerning the character of God, even those who had remained loyal? Because the death of Jesus on the cross not only reconciled earth with Him, but it also reconciled heaven. Notice Colossians chapter 1 and verses 19 and 20. Colossians chapter 1 verses 19 and 20. It says here, "For it pleased the Father that in Him, that is, in Jesus, all the fullness should dwell." Verse 20, "And by Him to reconcile all things to Himself." By Him. Whether things where? On earth, or things where? In heaven, having made peace through the blood of His cross. Did heaven also need to be reconciled through the cross of Jesus Christ? This passage clearly says yes. Notice also Luke chapter 15 and verse 10. When sinners repent on earth, the angels are overjoyed in heaven. There's a connection between the angels and the events of planet Earth. It says there in Luke chapter 15 and verse 10, Jesus is speaking, "Likewise I say to you, there is joy in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner who repents." I want you to notice also what we find in Psalm 51 verses 1 through 4. Psalm 51 and verses 1 through 4. This is a very interesting passage. This is David's penitential psalm after he committed adultery and he had his general murdered in the battlefield. He's praying to God, and notice what he says. "Have mercy upon me, O God, according to your loving kindness. According to the multitude of your tender mercies, blot out my transgressions. Wash me thoroughly from my iniquity and cleanse me from my sin. For I acknowledge my transgressions, and my sin is always before me. Against you, you only have I sinned, and done this evil in your sight, that you may be found just when you speak and blameless when you judge." Interesting that David would say, you know, I confess my sin, I realize I'm a sinner, I'm not lying to you, please forgive my sin, I acknowledge this, I repent. Now when you go to the book of Romans, this text is quoted, and I want you to notice how in the New Testament the translation is changed by the Apostle Paul. See, in Psalm 51 verses 1 through 4, it speaks about God being blameless when He judges. But notice what we find in Romans chapter 3 and verse 4 where this passage is quoted. "Indeed, let God be true, but every man a liar. As it is written, that you may be justified in your words and may overcome when you are judged." Isn't that interesting? God is being what? God is being judged. The devil says, how can you forgive them? They're sinners. You said the wages of sin is death. How can you have mercy upon them when you said that if they sinned, they would die? And so there's a dilemma. If you punish man, you don't love him. But if you don't punish him, then you're not just. There appears to be a conflict between the justice of God and the love and mercy of God. And God decides to forgive, and the devil says, oh, He forgives some and He doesn't forgive others. And so the purpose of the sanctuary service is to show that God was right in the way in which He dealt with sin.